Hola, estudiantes de Español 3. Today we're going to be talking about the present tense in Spanish. You need to have your note guide as well as your sheet that I gave you today that's buff, that has the different groups of verbs on it as we go through the presentation. We'll start with the uses of the present tense. The present tense is used to talk about actions that are happening in the present time, right now, and to express general truths. For example, ahora yo hablo con mis amigos. The present tense is also used to express habitual actions or actions that will take place in the near future. Eventualmente yo quiero ir a la universidad. So we're talking about something that will happen in the future. When we talk about conjugating verbs, we need to talk about pronouns. Pronouns in Spanish follow the same format as our verbs. So we know that this is the singular side and that this is the plural side. If you're talking about one person, yo means I, tú means you, and we know that that is an informal you. Él, ella, or usted is he, she, or you, a formal you. We have we on the other side for our nosotros or nosotras. Vosotros is you all, or y'all, like they say down south, kind of an informal you when you're talking to a group of people. We also have ellos, ellas, which means they, and ustedes, which is another way to say you guys. Ustedes can be formal, or it can be considered a little bit more informal, depending on what country you're in. In Spain, they would use y'all, they would use the vosotros. In Mexico, the vosotros doesn't exist, and so they would use ustedes. When we talk about regular AR, ER, and IR verb endings, verb conjugation happens when you keep the stem and you add the ending. So in hablar, our stem is HABL, and then we add our endings to it. Please take a moment and record your regular AR endings. For ER and IR verbs, the same thing holds true. We take our stem of the verb, which is everything but the ending, and then we add the appropriate endings. You'll notice that ER and IR verbs share endings in common, with the exception of nosotros and vosotros. Please notice the accents that are in each vosotros form. Please go to your handout and underline your ER and IR verb endings. In Spanish, there are types of verbs that are called stem-changing verbs. Stem-changing verbs change in the boot. So, the boot looks like this and includes the yo, tú, él, ella, usted, and ellos, ellas, ustedes. Note that nosotros and vosotros are not in the boot and therefore make no change. So when you come over here and you look at the verb pensar, I have highlighted the change. It happens only in the boot. Stem-changing verbs come in three different types: E to IE, O to UE, and E to I. If you look at pensar, when you look in a dictionary, you'll always see a little notation next to it that tells you what the stem change is. Please go to your form and underline the stem changes on your guide. I would also like you to do some verbs for practice. For an O to UE verb, I would like you to do the verb encontrar. For an E to IE verb, I would like you to do the verb, let me think here. For E to IE, I would like you to do the verb comenzar. And for E to I would like you to do the verb vestir. Tomorrow when we look at your notes, we'll take a look at that and see if we've done them correctly. Jugar is an exception to the stem-changing rule. Jugar is the only verb that goes U to UE. You'll notice that I've highlighted the changes and that those changes take place in the boot. In the present tense, there are lots of verbs that take spelling changes in the yo form. We have a group of verbs that we call go verbs. Go verbs include hacer, poner, tener. All of those have go in the yo form. If you flip to the back side of your handout, you'll notice a list of verbs that can be considered go verbs. Please take appropriate notes. The second group is that we have a group that's just irregular. These include dar, estar, and ir. These verbs simply don't follow the rules and just have to be memorized. A third group that we have is verbs that end in CER and CIR that make a spelling change to ZCO. Examples of those verbs would be conducir, which the yo form would be conduzco, crecer, cresco, traducir, traduzco. Finally, we have a group of verbs which end in GIR and GER, which change to JO. So for dirigir, the yo form is dirijo. It's not really about the sound, it's about spelling. Same with escoger, escojo. The sound doesn't change, but the spelling must change in order to write the verb correctly. Sometimes a verb can be a stem changer and have an irregular yo form. Sorry about the over right there. We are talking about verbs like tener and decir and venir. If you look, they have an irregular yo form, and then the rest of the verb conjugates like a stem changing verb, so it follows the boot. All of the forms that fit in the boot are stem changing verbs. So sometimes a verb can be in two different categories. Please be sure to pause the video and to take good notes on your note-taking guide. You'll find a practice quiz on Moodle that includes all types of present tense verbs. I will check your notes tomorrow in class. If you have any questions about the present tense, please record any of those questions as well. Have a good night. Buenas noches.